Bear to You by Sylvia Day Chapter 7 Final Part. Before listening, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you. I got to work 20 minutes early on Monday, figuring I'd skip running into Gideon. When I reached my desk without incident, I felt such relief that I knew I was in serious trouble where he was concerned. My moods were shifting all over the place. Mark arrived in high spirits, still floating from his major successes of the week before, and we dug right into work. I'd done some vodka market comparisons on Sunday, and he was kind enough to go over those with me and listen to my impressions. Mark was also assigned the account for a new e-reader manufacturer, so we began the initial work on that. With such a busy morning, time flew swiftly and I didn't have time to think about my personal life. I was really grateful for that. Then I answered the phone and heard Gideon on the line. I wasn't prepared. "How's your Monday been so far?" he asked, his voice sending a shiver of awareness through me. Hectic. I glanced at the clock and was startled to see it was 20 minutes to noon. Good. There was a pause. "I tried calling you yesterday. I left a couple messages. I wanted to hear your voice." My eyes closed on a deep breath. It had taken every bit of my willpower to make it through the day without listening to the voicemail. I'd even enlisted Carrie in the cause, telling him to restrain me forcibly if it looked like I might succumb to the urge. I did the hermit thing and worked a little. "Did you get the flowers I sent?" "Yes. They're lovely. Thank you. They reminded me of your dress." What the hell was he doing? I was beginning to think he had multiple personality disorder. Some women might say that's romantic. I only care what you say. His chair creaked as if he'd pushed to his feet. I thought about stopping by. I wanted to. I sighed, surrendering to my confusion. "I'm glad you didn't." There was another long pause. I deserved that. I didn't say it to be a bitch. It's just the truth. I know. Listen. I arranged for lunch up here in my office so we don't waste any of the hour leaving and getting back. After his parting, I'll call you. I'd wondered if he would want to get together again after he settled down from whatever trip he'd been on. It was a possibility I'd been dreading since Saturday night. Aware that I needed to cut him off, but feeling strung out from the desire to be with him. I wanted to experience again that pure, perfect moment of intimacy we'd shared. But I couldn't justify that one moment against all the other moments when he made me feel like crap. "Gideon, we don't have any reason to have lunch together. We hashed things out Friday night. And we took care of business Saturday. Let's just leave it at that." "Eva." His voice turned gruff. "I know I fucked up. Let me explain." "You don't have to. It's okay." "It's not. I need to see you. I don't want. We can do this the easy way, Eva. Or you can make it difficult." His tone took on a hard edge that made my pulse quicken. "Either way, you'll hear me out." I closed my eyes, understanding that I wasn't lucky enough to get away with a quick goodbye. Phone chat. "Fine. I'll come up. Thank you." He exhaled audibly. "I can't wait to see you." I returned the receiver to its cradle and stared at the photos on my desk, trying to formulate what I needed to say and steeling myself for the impact of seeing Gideon again. The ferocity of my physical response to him was impossible to control. Somehow I'd have to get past it and take care of business. Later, I'd think about having to see him in the building over the days, weeks, and months ahead. For the moment, I just had to focus on making it through lunch. Yielding to the inevitable, I got back to work, comparing the visual impact of some blow-in card samples. Eva. I jumped and spun around in my chair, startled to find Gideon standing beside my cubicle. The sight of him blew me away, as usual, and my heart stuttered in my chest. A quick glance at the clock proved that a quarter hour had passed in no time at all. Gid. Mr. Cross. You didn't have to come down here. His face was calm and impassive, but his eyes were stormy and hot. Ready. I opened my drawer and pulled out my purse, taking the opportunity to suck in a deep, shaky breath. He smelled phenomenal and looked even better. Mr. Cross. Mark's voice. It's great to see you. Is there something? I'm here for Eva. We have a lunch date. I straightened in time to see Mark's brows shoot up. He recovered quickly, his face smoothing into its usual good-natured handsomeness. I'll be back at 1, I assured him. See you then. Enjoy your lunch. Gideon put his hand at the small of my back and steered me out to the elevators, garnering raised brows from Megumi when we passed reception. I shifted restlessly as he hit the call button for the elevator, wishing I could have made it through the day without seeing the man whose touch I craved like a drug. He faced me as we waited for the car, running his fingertips down the sleeve of my satin blouse. Every time I close my eyes, I see you in that red dress. I hear the sounds you make when you're turned on. I feel you sliding over my cock, squeezing me like a fist, making me come so hard it hurts. Don't. I looked away, unable to bear the intimate way he was looking at me. I can't help it. The arrival of the elevator was a relief. He caught my hand and pulled me inside. After he put his key in the panel, he tugged me closer. I'm going to kiss you, Eva. I don't. He pulled me into him and sealed his mouth over mine. I resisted as long as I could. Then I melted at the feel of his tongue stroking slow and sweet over mine. I'd wanted his kiss since we'd had sex. I wanted the reassurance that he valued what we'd shared, that it meant something to him, as it had to me. I was left bereft once again when he pulled away. Come on. He pulled the key out as the door opened. Gideon's red-headed receptionist said nothing this time, although she eyed me strangely. In contrast, Gideon's secretary, Scott, stood when we approached and greeted me pleasantly by name. Good afternoon, Miss Trammell. Hi, Scott. Gideon gave him a curt nod. Hold my calls. Yes, of course. I entered Gideon's expansive office, my gaze drifting to the sofa where he'd first touched me intimately. Lunch was arranged on the bar. 2 plates, covered in metal salvers. Can I take your purse? He asked. I looked at him, saw he'd taken off his jacket and slung it over his arm. He stood there in his tailored slacks and vest, his shirt and tie both a pristine white, his hair dark and thick around his breathtaking face, his eyes a wild and dazzling blue. In a word, he amazed me. I couldn't believe I'd made love to such a gorgeous man. But then, it hadn't meant the same thing to him. Eva, you're beautiful, Gideon. The words fell out of my mouth without conscious thought. His brows lifted. Then a softness came into his eyes. I'm glad you like what you see. I handed him my purse and moved away, needing the space. He hung his coat and my purse on the coat rack, then moved to the bar. I crossed my arms. Let's just get this over with. I don't want to see you anymore.